Welcome back to another episode of the Stopping Pop. I have a guest with me today, Garrett Nicholas on Threads Pacific Wandering, and you can check out his work on Substack. The name of his work is Hooperpotamus. I hope I'm saying that right.
Hooperpotamus.
Potamus, gotcha. I'll add the link to the description at the end of the video, and I'll upload everything. But how you doing today, man? You went to the
I'm
Knicks game
good.
last night.
I'm good. Yeah, I went to the game last night. Super excited to be here. I've never done this before. But yeah, super excited to jump on with you and talk a little hoops, talk some Knicks maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The ups and downs, we all know that, but definitely excited to jump on here and everything. And thank you for having me and everything. Really appreciate it. Definitely, Jerry.
Thank you for being on. Thank you for being
Got
on.
it. Yeah.
So first things first, the Knicks last night they lost to the Clippers, but was that your first time going to a Knicks game?
No, I've been to numerous Knicks games over the last, maybe 30 years. Just living here in LA, I usually come to the games when they play the Lakers or the Clippers. Regardless, tons of fun over there. They got LA Live and everything, so tons of fun in LA. They make it real cool. But the Knicks fans definitely representing last night. I'll say like 75% of the crowd Knicks fans,
Wow.
maybe 25%, Clippers fans and just other, folks scattered in there. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
different when, Lakers are in town or Knicks are in town against the Lakers. It's probably more like 90% Lakers, 10% Knicks, but
Yeah,
definitely the Knicks travel pretty well. So absolutely.
I was going to ask you how did your Knicks fandom start? Because you was
Yeah.
Southern California born and raised, right?
Southern California, born and raised. Good question. Love that question. So, I usually equate it to it's like almost like a religion, right? You just you're born into it. It's the only thing I
Mm-hmm.
knew. My dad's from Brooklyn, born and raised Brooklyn. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the only thing I knew growing up here. In California, just Knicks, Yankees, and Giants. That's it. So
Mm-hmm.
always been a big Knicks fan. Basketball has always kind of been my sport. It's definitely tough living here in Southern California, being a Knicks fan, having to
Mm-hmm.
compete and battle with, Lakers fans my whole life. But it's all in good fun and good heart, just with the all love with basketball. So definitely good
Mm-hmm.
question. I love that question. I love talking about it too.
Nice. Yes. So first thing I want to ask you. So Jalen Brunson had 50 points against the Suns. Unfortunately, he had the same result, but he had 22 last night. What um what did you see from him last night? And when he first signed with the Knicks, were you excited about the contract, or were you like like me who was kind of on the like I don't know 100 million for this
Yeah.
guy, you know?
Yeah, no. So I think just always a back to back. Any team is always tough. Played last night or 2 nights ago against the Suns. They had to get up for that game. That's Suns are a tough team. Obviously, Clippers are as well. But a back to back, I think, is always tough. High emotions. We dropped the 50 piece, which was crazy. You can't expect them to shoot the lights out like that every night. But yeah, I mean, still fun to watch and everything. I think just a little let down just with the team overall, maybe an energy from that night before. Clippers are starting to click, definitely starting to click. That three-headed monster with Harden, Paul George, and Westbrook, and then all the other pieces are starting to look pretty good. Obviously, Ty Lue is amazing coach, so it was just maybe a matter of time for him to kind of figure those things out. Um, but yeah, I mean Brunson, just his footwork. I love talking about his footwork. Love watching his footwork. It's just
His
the
footwork is
dude is
amazing.
six foot one, and he positions his body, gets open shots, leverages the defense. I mean, he's really incredible with his footwork.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Like I was when I watched him in Dallas and I seen him, I was like, wow, he's really good. But like when the Knicks got given that contract, I was kind of like, is he going to really be worth this contract, or is
Yeah.
he going to live down to expectations? But I feel like he's lived up to it so far.
No doubt. I mean, just exceeded, absolutely exceeded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we have him at a discount right now. I think that definitely, I mean, he's the leader of the team. Obviously Julius is there also, but I think definitely Jalen's the leader of the team. He kind of makes the team go. He's the one that puts the team on his back at the in the fourth quarter, typically. So I think, yeah, I mean, well exceeded his contract. I didn't know what to expect really. I did watch him in the playoffs on the Mavs, and he put the team on his back as well when Luka was out. So I knew, that's huge for any player, watching any player, just how they perform in the playoffs. Obviously, they didn't perform. The Mavs didn't perform fully, but you just saw Jalen out there just balling. And, same thing with last year, balling. So I think that, regardless of what he does in the regular season, he's an all-star, in my opinion. But I think, in the playoffs is kind of where he shines. So definitely.
Yeah, I definitely think he should have been all-star last season. I think he's going to make it this year based on how it seemed like he's gotten better. And it seemed like his usage rate has gotten higher. He's shooting more threes. So his numbers are going up. So I really think he's going to be an all-star. I didn't like the comments that Kenny Smith said about when the Knicks play against any team, they're never going to have the best player on the court. But I don't agree with that because at times Brunson looks like the best player on any given night.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like the comments either, but I think I always feel that the media, sports media is always kind of dogs on the Knicks a little bit for whatever reason. But I do think, Jalen and, with now how Julius Randle's playing, Julius is a bully down low. No one's stopping him down low. I mean, I think, those two combined are, some of the top players in the league. I don't think there's around it. I don't think they're, a top tier player. They're not in the level of a KD, Giannis, or anything like that. But they're just that next tier down of a player. So I didn't take kindly to the words. I didn't think they were very correct. I thought they were a little little over the top. I'll say, but I think maybe clickbaity, if you will. But I think. I think Julius and Jalen, they're top 25 players in the league. I think easily, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Biased opinion, but not biased.
I mean, biased or not, like the numbers don't lie. Like they perform really well. I mean, Julius Randle has made All NBA for the last two seasons out of the last three. So, but I got to ask you about Randle as well. Yeah. Because especially the last season on Twitter, people would say they need to trade Randle, get rid of him. I don't agree with it. I never agree with it because I feel like he is our second best player. But at the time before Brunson came, he was our best player. So I felt like, why would you trade away our best player when this is the first time we actually had sustaining success over multiple seasons? Why would we try to give that away right away? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so it's always the Twitter commentary, is always funny. But I think, a few things with Julius that, would typically bother me. And, the beginning of the year, I'll say I didn't give him much slack, but then, understanding, okay, coming back from his ankle injury and everything, let's give him some slack. And so looking where he's at right now, I mean, he's, doing pretty well. I think he's playing pretty well. He's vibing with the team pretty well. He's passing. He's not shooting as many threes. So my biggest beef with Julius is just when he has those maybe little periods with I'll say lack of effort. Where he's maybe not as playing as much defense as I would like to see, or not jumping for the balls as I would like to see. Sometimes I think maybe I would jump on that bandwagon. When he gets to be a little bit like that, but. All of those things I think are just, right now with what we're watching, he's definitely showing those things up. I haven't seen much of the lack of hustle, the lackadaisical effort with him. I've seen a lot of great effort with him. And that's what I want. That's what I want to see. And I think as a Knicks fan too, I think that's what Knicks fans want to see. We know he's not, we don't want to see him shoot threes. We want to see him, down low and maybe shoot that 10 to 15 foot shot. It's where he's effective, down low at the block. No one's going to stop him down there. So I don't want to see him traded. I love Julius. I think he's just starting to find his maybe spot with the team. Now that Jalen is kind of maybe more feeling comfortable with the team in the second year here. So I definitely think, Julius coming, maybe feeling a little more comfortable now, I think. And hopefully that's the case because we can see maybe these last handful of games he's looking a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially that game against the Bucks when he was going crazy. And then
Yeah.
he like I was saying the same thing about his ankle injury. Basically, he's still recovering
Yep.
and he had to work his way back and then, you know, basically try to find his rhythm essentially with this new team because we got some new
Yep.
pieces on the team, players, try to fit into their spot. So I feel like he's finally starting to like figure everything out and where he can like make an impact on the game. As
Yep.
in the beginning of the season, he wasn't scoring a lot, but he was still rebounding the ball really well. He was passing the ball, so he was doing other things and not
Yep.
relying so much on scoring.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, exactly. Yeah, I just again, I think the three ball, just him kind of not shooting the three ball as much has definitely helped. I think us Knicks fans too were screaming at the top of our lungs like, "Stop shooting the three ball." I think that was,
Mm-hmm.
that was at least me. I know, but I know
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us too were screaming at the top of our lungs, just trying to get him to drive and kick.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Definitely, because
yeah.
do you think him and Brunson will be all stars together this season?
I I hope so. I think they both deserve it. I think absolutely they both deserve it. Um, you know, I want them to extend the All Star game. I want them to add more All Stars because I feel like there's so many players that get
Mm-hmm.
snubbed.
Yeah, I agree
Into
with that.
the, so I think they should add more players. Right now there's 24 players on the All Star team on All Star rosters, and so
Mm-hmm.
you got to think is there's only less than one All Star per team on average. There's sometimes 2 to 3 All Stars per team. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think they should add more All Stars, but I definitely hope Jalen and Julius are All Stars this year. I think absolutely they both deserve it.
I think so too. I think so
Yeah.
too. So they're sitting at 14 and 11 right now. That's good for sixth place in the East. What's this team ceiling? What's your expectations for them?
Yeah, I think it's a little the Knicks right now, I think they're probably a upper middle class. I'd say they're not
Mm-hmm.
upper class yet. They're upper middle class, and I think they're going to stay right there for right now.
Yeah.
I think they're building their core right now. They're building their team.
Mm-hmm.
They're being very patient, which if that's the direction, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them being patient. I'm okay with them, kind of building and completing their core. Obviously, again, Jalen's been here for now 2 years. RJ, IQ, those folks, they've been here for a few years now, just building our young core. Grimes kind of, maybe taking a step back a little bit this year and maybe
Mm-hmm.
finding his role off the bench. Same thing with IQ. So I think definitely, really shoring kind of that team together. Um, Getting just to be such a close knit group, and then being patient, waiting for that superstar to come over.
Mm-hmm.
I think Julius and Jalen, they're top tier stars. I don't think they're superstars yet, but
Mm-hmm.
they're definitely stars. So I don't think I think they can maybe win a series or two, maybe in the playoffs, but I don't think they'll go much farther than that. Um, again, I think they're kind of the upper middle class right now. They're not that upper class yet. They're not with the Bucks, the T Wolves, kind of those echelons of teams, yet. But
Mm-hmm.
just that one star player. We're looking for that one star player, I think. So we'll
Yeah.
get that,
Mm-hmm. So that drives me to my next question. So I do feel like they do need a star, but so you said you're a Knicks fan for 30 years. So you remember the Carmelo Anthony trade, right?
Yeah.
And Melo was my favorite player at the time, and they traded almost all their roster for Melo, all their key players.
Yep.
Do you feel like we could get a star in the trade? And if so, who would you give up for who?
Oh, I mean that's a great question. I've seen obviously a lot of talk about Donovan Mitchell coming over. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
wants him to come over. I even think he wants to come over.
He does.
Um,
He was just on the podcast talking about he thought he was going to be a dick. So
He's talked about it. He said that.
Yep, he said
Yeah.
like when the trade happened, he thought he was gonna be a
Oh
Knicks.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's from New York, so I hope that happens in some capacity. I think we do have a lot of draft picks, so I think throwing in a bunch of those picks. But again, with that Melo trade, I don't want to give away everything. I feel like again we've been very patient in building, and you don't want to give away a lot just to get that one star player. So I mean, I hate to throw names out there, but it's these folks like Grimes, again, it's hard to say. I love all of them, but it's for the kind of the greater good. I think some of those maybe more role players that have high ceilings. That maybe not getting as much burn starting or getting as much time as they'd like to. So I'd say maybe some of these, maybe more role players on the Knicks, which they could, start on teams, some teams. So along with those, but just it's always hard for me to throw names out. I just
Yeah, because I was looking at the roster. I'm like, Evan Fournier is still there. They could package him with
Fournier.
something, and you could probably throw Grimes in there. You could honestly, I like Isaiah Hartenstein, but you still got Jericho Sims sitting there, so you can have either one of them as your backup center and throw the one in a trade. So it's the Knicks have pieces that they can, maybe attract a star like Donovan Mitchell, Zach LaVine. I've been hearing Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know if I want Karl Anthony Towns on the
Yeah,
team.
really, you heard? That's interesting. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just with as well as how the T Wolves are doing right now.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I was like, why would Karl Anthony Towns want to get traded now when they're
Right.
first in the West? It's working, so I
Yeah.
don't think that's a good idea. But
Yeah.
all in all, I think the Knicks have been good. I think they just need one star, and then from there we just gotta see how the chips land.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something and KD said something the other day that's been on my mind about Jalen Brunson. If he continues on this path, he'll be a Hall of Famer. And
Mm-hmm.
Knicks fans, we know that. We see it. We see him play.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. But it's
Mm-hmm.
good to kind of get that recognition outside of just Knicks fans. But I also think with him saying that, we've had a lot of trouble in getting free agents to come to New York for whatever reason. And I think, him saying that that's a certified stamp. And I think people listen to, Kevin Durant. So I think, that could be maybe a catalyst to have people, maybe start looking at coming to the Knicks, coming over to the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's well wishes, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of the first thing that came to my mind was, hey, this could be something. Him coming over to there's people coming over to the Knicks.
Like, hope so. I hope so
Yeah,
because
right.
that's like I feel like we always kind of get the short end of the stick when it comes to free agents. It's always this bait along that they're going to come, and then at the last minute they kind of like pull out of it, and
Yeah,
or the trades. We always think, all right, we're going to get this one player. Nope, they're going to go somewhere else. So I feel like hopefully this is a sign that people want to come to New York now.
always with the rumors, right?
Always, always. Listen, if we had a team based on rumors alone,
Oh,
we'll be a dynasty. Okay.
how many championships we would have won?
Kyrie, KD, Zion,
LeBron,
Donovan
everyone.
Mitchell, everybody. It's so crazy, man.
Yeah,
But I want to thank you for being on my podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Also, check out Garrett's work. And I'll put all the links in the descriptions on the Spotify and the YouTube channel. I'll also post this to Instagram and Threads because I've met him through Threads. So
yeah,
it's a nice NBA community on there, and we've all been connected for some time now. It's a growing community, so I'm
yep.
enjoying it. Mm-hmm.
Me too. Me too. Hey, love being here, Jared. Absolutely, my pleasure. You threw that out there, and I was, wanted to throw my hand up and jump in.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so Hope I did
You did
okay.
good.
Tons of
You did
fun.
great.
Tons of fun. And hopefully we can do it again. Love talking sports. Love chatting with you about it. Love our, our family on threads and everything. So, yeah, great times, Jared. Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Cool, man.
All right.
All right.